What's wrong with it?
It's not turning
on. It might be turned off from the wall, Pooh.
Boys turned it on.
Okay, well, let them turn it on or off when they come back, Pooh. Okay.
Mom,
Yes.
these stuff don't go in here. Boys are supposed to jump at them.
Okay, they put your stuff in the wrong place. She ain't a fit because they move her toys around. They put her toys in the wrong place. Hi, beautiful people. Let me pull this up. All right, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It is November the 9th, 2021, day 298 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 966. Today, y'all, we are reading Psalms 85 through 87. Then we're going to pick up where we left off at in Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. In chapter 6, we're starting chapter 6 today. On page 175. All right, y'all. Go ahead and do the Shema. Yes, baby girl. Just put your stuff back where you want it, Pooh. She don't like them coming in and mess with her toys. Like, she put them in one place. She got her whole little kitchen thing set up. So if they move it, it's a piece of hair. They move her stuff, she had a fit. They come in here messing with my stuff. The boys move the food. Levon, blessings, blessings. Okay, y'all. Go ahead and do the Shema. What are you doing? Don't even. Yeah, not tomorrow. As soon as you crack your eyes, leave it alone.
I already did that stuff.
You're not about to get ice cream at 7 o'clock in the morning, Isaiah. Some mornings I'll allow it. Not today, because you're about to be moving stuff all behind me. The Shema is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk with them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. All right, beautiful people. Shayla, hey girl, hey, Betsawabu. All right, y'all. Psalm chapter 85 is for the director of music of the sons of Korah, a psalm. You, Yah, showed favor to your land. You restored the fortunes of Jacob. You forgave the iniquity of your people and covered all their sins. You set aside all your wrath and turned from your fierce anger. Restore us again, Yahuwah our Savior, and put away your displeasure towards us. Will you be angry with us forever? Will you prolong your anger through all generations? Will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you? Show us your unfailing love, Yah. Grant us your salvation. I will listen to what Yahuwah says. He promises peace to his people, his faithful servants, but let them not turn to folly. Surely his salvation is near to those who fear him, that his glory may dwell in our land. Love and faithfulness meet together. Righteousness and peace kiss each other. Faithfulness springs forth from the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. Yahuwah will indeed give what is good, and our land will yield its harvest. Righteousness goes before him and prepares the way for his steps. Pause one quick. No, it kind of knocked me off of. Okay, it's still recording on Facebook. Okay, I'm sorry. I meant to do that before I started because I had to use my phone to do it. Okay, next chapter, Psalm chapter 86, a prayer of David. Hear me, Yahuwah, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Guard my life, for I am faithful to you. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Have mercy on me, Yah, for I call to you all day long. Bring joy to your servant, Yah, for I put my trust in you. You, Yah, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call on you. Hear my prayer, Lord. Listen to my cry for mercy. When I am in distress, I call to you because you answer me. Among the gods, there is none like you, Yah. No deeds can compare with yours. All the nations you have made will come and worship before you, Yah. They will bring glory to your name, for you are great and do marvelous deeds. You alone are God. Teach me your way, Yah, that I may rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart, that I may fear your name. I will praise you, Yah, my God, with all my heart. I will glorify your name forever, for great is your love towards me. You have delivered me from the depths, from the realm of the dead. Arrogant foes are attacking me, O Yah. Ruthless people are trying to kill me. They have no regard for you, but you, Yah, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. Turn to me and have mercy on me. Show your strength in behalf of your servant. Save me because I serve you, just as my mother did. Give me a sign of your goodness, that my enemies may see it and be put to shame. For you, Yah, have helped me and comforted me. Last chapter for today, Psalm chapter 87. Of the sons of Korah, a psalm, a song. It's real short too, only 7 verses. He has founded his city on the holy mountain. Yahuwah saves the gates of Zion more than all the other dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are said of you, city of Yah. I will record Rahab and Babylon among those who acknowledge me. Philistia too, and Tyre, along with Cush, and will say, this one was born in Zion. Indeed, of Zion it will be said, this one and that one were born in her, and the Most High himself will establish her. Yahuwah will write in the register of the peoples, this one was born in Zion. As they make music, they will sing, all my fountains are in you. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. It's pretty short, but it was still good nonetheless. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and hop on over here to... I still from time to time be wanting to say, let's hop over to Legends of the Jews. All right, y'all. Oh, this is pretty short chapter too. Oh yeah, we only at 9 minutes. We might even have time to spare today. Okay, let's get it started. All right, y'all. Chapter 6, page 175. A trifling strand from Pliny to Shakespeare. All right, y'all. This chapter presents 2 discoveries, both of which are related to the symbolic level in the Shakespearean literature. The first is that Pliny's dedication to Titus in his History of Nature That's actually a piece that he wrote. The first is that, hold on. Okay. The first is that Pliny's dedication to Titus in his History of Nature contains sarcastic references to the satirical system that the Romans placed in the Gospels. The second is that the author of the dedication to Shakespeare in the 1623 folio, which presented the first collection of the plays, understood Pliny's sarcasm and created the entire dedication to Shakespeare as an extension of Pliny's black humor. The first part of this analysis concerns translations of Latin that laymen will perhaps find difficult to understand. And as always is the case with translations, other specialists can contest. If the reader bears with this, however, he or she will be rewarded at the conclusion of this chapter with simple and clear evidence that Pliny and the author of the dedication to Shakespeare in the 1623 folio were operating from the same comic theme concerning Christianity. Pliny's dedication to Titus began with a strange paragraph which was translated in 1601 by Philemon Holland as follows, quote, I purpose by this epistle of mine to present and consecrate unto you, most sweet and gentle prince, for this title accorded fittest unto you, seeing that the name of most mighty sword, with the age of that emperor your father, which happily might seem bold and presumption in me, but that I know how at other times you were wont to have some good opinion of my toys and fooleries, where, by the way, you must give me leave to mollify a little the verse which I borrowed of my countryman Catullus. See also how I light upon a word used among soldiers, which you are acquainted with, since time we served together both in the camp. Pliny's dedication is among a very small collection of extant writing, wherein a member of Titus's intellectual circle directly addressed him. I believe that Pliny references Christianity a number of times in his preface, the first occurring in the above paragraph and the portion marked in bold-faced type. The sarcastic meaning of Pliny's words is invisible in the English translation. To get the joke, it is first necessary to recognize that the Latin verse that Pliny borrowed was from Catullus's poem Carmina, verse 1.3, dedication to Cornelius, wherein he wrote, For you used to deem my triflings of account. Pliny, however, permuted the order of the words in Catullus's original Latin, creating an awkward and ungrammatical sentence, reference 79. In a footnote, Holland wrote that Pliny's version indeed was but a hard composition and couching of the words. I believe that this grammatical violation signals a puzzle or double entendre, and that Pliny intended for the reader to realize that the Latin word patar, translated above as to deem, has an alternative meaning, which is to trim, prune, or lop. This meaning is the root of the English word amputate. This is, in my opinion, the word that Pliny states that he lights upon in order to mollify a little the meaning. Holland translated the phrase as, quote, At other times you were wont to have some good opinion of my toys and fooleries, producing an interpretation consistent with Catullus's original poem and ignoring Pliny's grammatical faux pas. Note that Holland's word toys, Toies, means mockeries, which is not necessarily an exact implication of the Latin. However, flipping to the alternate interpretation of the double entendre, Pliny's phrase might also be translated as, quote, "For indeed you have been using my mockeries for pruning." Pause 1 second, hold on. Okay. In Caesar's Messiah, the word prune is shown to be a key word in the comic system that runs between the Gospels and the Wars of the Jews. Titus pruned the Jewish Messiah he captured on the Mount of Olives, and using the language of the Gospels, grafted in a new Roman messianic lineage onto the root and branch of Judaism. Pliny helps the informed reader to understand his sarcasm by noting that the word he lights upon was one that Titus was acquainted with since the time we both served together in the camp. This is an important detail because the place where the Jewish Messiah was pruned was the Koa, which Josephus mentioned as a camp where Titus was stationed. Pliny's sarcasm and the rest of the dedication will be transparent to those familiar with the Gospel's satire. He goes on to state that he hopes that Titus enjoys this present work, which he presents as a religious document and consecrates to Titus, as much as he did his previous one, which he referred to above as his mockery. He then goes on to compare his offering to those of poor country peasants. Quote, "In which regard exceeding care above all things would be had, that whatsoever is said or dedicated unto you may beseem your person and be worth acceptation. And yet the gods rejected not the humble prayers of poor country peasants, yea, and many of the nations who offer nothing but milk unto them, and such as have no incense, find grace and favor many times with the oblation of a plain cake made only of meal and salt. And never was any man blamed yet for his devotion to the gods, so he offered according to his ability, were the thing never so simple." End quote. Plain cake made only of meal and salt is, of course, unleavened bread, a requirement for Jews at the Passover meal. While it is possible in this phase that Pliny is referring only to Judaism, this seems unlikely in view of his patron Titus's conquest of the Jews and his distaste for that religion. The satirical system in the Gospels, as revealed by Josephus, revolves around a black comic theme of cannibalism, whereby Romans satirically transformed the unleavened bread served at the Passover meal into the flesh of their Messiah. Moreover, note that this reference to the Jews supports the contention that Pliny was referring above to camps during Titus's Judean campaign, as that was Titus's most significant military campaign. If Pliny is operating in the context of the Gospel's comedy, his statement about the offerings of poor country peasants or Jews to gods, which is, when they say gods, is he's referring to Titus and his father Vespasian. You know, if you remember from Caesar's Messiah, that's why he put it in parentheses here. I read it over. If Pliny is operating in the context of the Gospel's comedy, his statement about the offerings of poor country peasants, Jews, to gods, Titus and his father Vespasian, is certainly a witticism related upon its black comic theme. In other words, Pliny is building upon the Gospel's satirical level, whereby poor country Jews were fooled into symbolically eating the flesh of their Messiah at the Passover meal. Notice Pliny's comment, were, quote, were the thing never so simple, end quote. What could be complex about the offerings of poor country peasants? Given the fact that Pliny is addressing the creator of Christianity, the most obvious answer is simply that Pliny was joking on the fact that the new Judaism fooled its followers into symbolic cannibalism. We fooled that out before we even read Caesar's Messiah, didn't we? Whew. Another statement, if you were here for that, you would know, because we talked about it a lot, right? Okay. Another statement in the dedication comments on how easy it is to fool poor countrymen with religion. Pliny wrote, many things there that must seem right and dear and beholden for precious only because they are consecrated to some sacred things, end quote. If this statement is referring to the Gospels, it is brutally cynical, which is just what one would expect from one of the authors of the Gospels. While all of this suggests the possibility that Pliny is commenting upon Titus's new religion, the next passage provides even greater support for the premise. The passage begins with Pliny's expressing concern that critics in the future will criticize his writings. He then switches gears and focuses not on the general critics of his work, but upon a single woman. In the Holland translation, the woman's name is Mary. Quote, but this troubled me never a whit, for I am not ignorant that a silly woman, even a harlot and no better, durst encounter the Theophilus and write a book against him, notwithstanding he was a man of so incomparable eloquence that thereupon he came by his divine name, Theophilus, from whence arose this proverb and byword, Mary, then go choose a tree to hang thyself, end quote. In Caesar's Messiah, the famous early botanist Theophilus was noted as the scientific predecessor of Pedanius Dioscorides, the physician and botanist who accompanied Titus to Judea. Pedanius is satirically described in Wars of the Jews as capturing the Jewish Messiah and then metaphorically pruning him and grafting a Roman Messiah onto the Jewish root. In his writings, Theophilus used the same key Greek word, kalasai, to describe the pruning of the trees that Josephus used to describe Titus's instruction as to what to do with the captured Jewish Messiah, thereby beginning the comic root and branch pruning theme found in the Gospels. Further, Josephus describes Mary's son Jesus in the cannibal Mary parallel as a byword who will complete the calamity of the Jews, and that's quote, in quotes. So y'all remember that when it was talking about that. Let me see. Josephus describes Mary's son Jesus in the cannibal Mary parallel as a byword who will, quote, complete the calamity of the Jews, end quote. Therefore, Pliny's creating the absurd phrase, quote, Mary, then go choose a tree to hang thyself, end quote, and then calling it a byword, is a reference to the system of the satire in the Gospels and the Wars of the Jews. This phrase was not a proverb or byword. It is not in any other extant Roman literature, and Pliny calling it such simply highlights the comic theme he is creating. If one reads any modern translation of Pliny's dedication to Titus, it will not contain the word Mary that is found in Holland's. For example, the current Loeb edition of Pliny's work, the passage is translated, quote, Theophilus, a mortal whose eminence as an orator won him the title of the Divine, actually had a book written against him by a woman, which was the origin of the proverb about choosing your tree to hang from, end quote. This means that either someone removed the word Mary from the extant copies of Pliny, which is doubtful considering that there are a number of such editions, or Holland simply decided to add Mary to the sentence. The following footnote given by Holland to his translation of the critical Mary sentence seemingly builds upon this connection to being hung on a tree. Pliny actually used the word thesera, which specifically means crucifixion.
You said being hung
on a tree. The footnote speaks about women who control men's writing. Amelia's sister's husband's last name was also Holland, which permits the conjecture that the translator, Philemon Holland, may have been an in-law.
You know what people like talking about?
What do people like talking about, Dave?
What you think people like talking
I know what people like talking about.
You know they like talking about.
Which is why you always come in here and...
People love talking about. If it was a doggone preacher that they can confess to, that would be a number one topic.
And if y'all paid attention to what my husband repeated, you will know what this conversation is about. Time 3000, Shalom, Robert, Betwabu, Uncle JP, Nikki. All right, y'all. All right, babe. You got everything? Got your wallet? Yeah. All right.
You got your wallet? I ain't got one thing.
A kiss from me is what I'm giving to you right now.
Oh.
Everything else, I got for you when you get back into this house.
I love you. I love you.
All right, babe. Love you too.
See how you look down?
You know it. With all this information, it is hard not to speculate that Amelia Bassano had a hand in Holland's translation, or that Holland was aware that Shakespeare was a man whose writing was controlled by a woman, or both. Quote, "If women may be allowed to control men's writings, we may be weary of our lives and go hang ourselves well enough." He's so dramatic. End quote. The concepts Mary and crucifixion are so associated with Christianity as to be self-evident. Holland's 1602 translation that claimed that a Mary wrote a book against a specialist in pruning that became a byword, and bear in mind that no such book is known to exist, could not be circumstantial in a dedication to the inventor of Christianity. To have added Mary to Pliny's collection of concepts related to Christianity, pruning, crucifixion, and byword, suggests that Holland was aware that Pliny's dedication to Titus was sarcastically referring to the Christian Gospels. Before showing how Pliny's dedication is linked to the Shakespearean literature, it is important to provide yet another passage from Pliny's History of Nature that relates to the creation of Christianity. The sarcasm in this passage should be comprehensible to readers familiar with the system of comedy presented in Caesar's Messiah. Pliny's description below of the balsam plant relates to the root and branch comedy within the Gospels. To see the linkage, it only needs to be understood that the oil from the balsam plant was used by the Jews to anoint their Messiah. Therefore, it was natural for Pliny to have used the plant as a symbol of Jesus and thereby create a witticism depicting the Romans capturing this specific root from the Jews. Quote, what if they left something? But to all other odors, that of balsamum is considered preferable, a plant that has been only bestowed by nature upon the land of Judea. In former times it was cultivated in 2 gardens only, both of which belonged to the kings of that country. One of them was no more than 20 jugera in extent, and the other somewhat smaller. The emperors Vespasianus and Titus, well, that's Vespasian. They just put Anus. The emperors Vespasianus and Titus had this shrub exhibited at Rome. Indeed, it is worthy of signal remark that since the time of Pompeius Magnus, we have been in the habit of carrying trees even in our triumphal processions. At the present day, this tree pays us homage and tribute along with its native land, but it has been found to be of altogether a different nature to that which our own as well as foreign writers to attribute to it. For, in fact, it bears a much stronger resemblance to the vine than to the myrtle. This recent acquisition by conquest has learned, like the vine, to be reproduced by mallet shoots, and it covers declivities just like the vine, which supports its own weight without the aid of stays. When it puts forth branches, it is pruned in a similar manner, and it thrives by being well raked at the roots, growing with remarkable rapidity and bearing fruit at the end of 3 years. The leaf bears a very considerable resemblance to that of a rue, and it is an evergreen. The Jews vented their rage upon this shrub, just as they were in the habit of doing against their own lives and persons, while on the other hand, the Romans protected it. Indeed, combats have taken place before now in defense of a shrub. And that references Pliny from his writing Natural History. It says 12.54. All right, end quote. Pliny's choice to quote from a poem of Catullus is also notable. In Caesar's Messiah, I showed that the identity of the authors of the New Testament was revealed by the solution of a puzzle at the end of Josephus's Wars of the Jews, 7.11. Hold on. What is this? Okay. I'm sorry. I know what this is. Volume 7, Chapter 11, pages 437 through 453. In this puzzle, Jonathan, a Jewish rebel, a type of Jesus, accused Alexander and his wife Bernice of having put him upon what he did, that is, putting up Jonathan as their front man for the purpose of fomenting rebellion among the Jews in Cyrene. This accusation was presented to Catullus, the governor of the Libyan Pentapolis, who acted upon it and had Bernice and Alexander put to death, along with 3,000 other wealthy Jews. Jonathan and Catullus then accused Josephus and other Jews of Alexandria and Rome as well, at which point Vespasian stepped in to clear Josephus's name. Catullus fell ill, and his very entrails were so corroded that they fell out of his body, and in that condition he died, which is the same unique fate that befell Judas Iscariot. Quote, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. End quote. And that's Acts chapter 1, verse 18. That was so vivid when we read that in Caesar's Messiah. Y'all should probably remember that in detail. Oh, y'all. Collar plugging my nerve. Okay. All right. Of course, the historical Bernice and Alexander were never actually put to death for any crime whatsoever, nor could Catullus have died in the way the story claims, thus demonstrating that the entire passage must be treated as an enigma rather than as literal history. In the enigma, Catullus is typologically linked to Judas, but the relation is a mirror image. Whereas Judas falsely accused Jews of being king of the Jews, Catullus' accusation seems to be the truth. By writing the Gospels, Bernice, Alexander, and Josephus did indeed put Jesus upon what he did. Pliny's choice to pay homage to Catullus in his dedication to Titus was intended to link himself to the Catullus in the Josephus passage that identified the authors of the Gospels as a record of his role in the creation of Christianity. Okay. Recognizing that Pliny was sarcastically commenting upon Christianity leads directly to the next discovery. The fact that the dedication in the 1623 folio of the works of Shakespeare was based upon Pliny's dedication to Titus is well known to scholars. What has not been understood heretofore is that the author of the 1623 folio dedication to Shakespeare understood that Pliny was playing off of the Gospel's satirical level and linked his dedication to the same comic theme. Martavia, shalom. The dedication is quoted below. Most scholars believe that Ben Jonson, a member of Emilia Bassano's inner circle, who apparently shared her knowledge of the Gospel's satirical code, was the author. The dedication is to William, the Earl of Pembroke, and Philip, the Earl of Montgomery, both of the noble order of the Garter, and continues, quote, Right Honorable, whilst we study to be thankful in our particular for the many favors we have received from your LL lords, we are falling upon the ill fortune to mingle to the most diverse things that can be, fear and rashness in the enterprise, and fear of the success. For when we value the places of your HH sustained, we cannot but know their dignity greater than to descend to the reading of these trifles, and while we name them trifles, we have deprived ourselves of the defense of our dedication. But since your LL have been pleased to think these trifles something heretofore, and have prosecuted both them and their author living with so much favor, we hope that they outliving him, and he not having the fate common with some to be executor to his own writings, you will use the like indulgence toward them you have done onto their parent. There is a great difference whether any book choose his patrons or find them. This hath done both. For so much were your LL, it's two L's, y'all. And over here, the first time they said it in parentheses, it has lords. So I guess it's referring to their lords. Okay. For so much were your LL likings of the several parts when they were acted, as before they were published, the volume asked to be yours. We have but collected them and done an office to the dead to procure his orphans, guardians, without ambition either of self-profit or fame, only to keep the memory of so worthy a friend and fellow alive, as was our Shakespeare, by humble offer of his plays to your most noble patronage, wherein, as we have justly observed, no man to come near your LL, but with a kind of religious address, if hath been the height of our care, who are the presenters, to make the present worthy of your HH by the perfection. It didn't say what HH is, y'all. This is like the second time. But there were, must also crave our abilities to be considered, my lords. We cannot go beyond our own powers. Country hands reach forth milk, cream, fruits, or what they have. And many nations we have heard that had not gum and incense obtained their requests with a leavened cake. It was no fault to approach their gods by what means they could, and the most, though meanest, of things are made more precious when they are dedicated to temples. In that name, therefore, we most humbly consecrate to your H.H. these remains of your servants, Shakespeare, that what delights is in them may be ever your L.L., the reputation his, and the faults ours, if any be committed, by a prayer so careful to show their gratitude both to the living and the dead, as is your lordship's most bounden John Hemmenge. End quote. And that was by Henry Condell. The author links his dedication to Pliny's sarcasm concerning the gospel in a number of ways. The first is used by the word trifles, which he repeats 3 times at the beginning of his statement, the same point that Pliny uses the word in his dedication. Though trifle is normally thought of today as something trivial or insignificant, its original meaning is actually mockery, as the word stemmed from truff, Truffe, which means to mock or gibe. This may have also been Pliny's meaning when he used the equivalent Latin word in reference to the Gospels. The author of the folio's dedication is thereby repeating the wordplay concerning mockery that Pliny created using the key Latin word putere above. The author is reversing Pliny's sarcasm, however. It is not the Jews who are being mocked, but the Gentile believers in Shakespeare. The folio's dedication also reveres Pliny's sarcasm by paraphrasing 2 of his 2 passages that Riley commented upon the Gospels. Quote, "Country hands reach forth milk, cream, fruits, or what they have, and many nations we have heard that had not gums and incense obtained their requests with a leavened cake. It was no fault to approach their gods by what means they could, and the most, though meanest, of things are made more precious when they are dedicated to temples." End quote. These statements are clearly reiterations of the 2 statements in Pliny's dedication that are sarcastic comments upon Christianity. Quote, "Poor country peasants, yea, and of many nations, who offer nothing but milk unto them, and such as have no incense, find grace and favor many times with the oblation of a plain cake made only of meal and salt. And never was any man blamed, yet for his devotion to the gods, so he offered according to his ability. Many things there that seem right and dear, and be made precious only because they are consecrated to some sacred things." End quote. Notice, however, that the author of Shakespeare's dedication, though clearly basing his text upon Pliny's, has carefully changed a plain cake made of meal and salt to a leavened cake, thereby satirically indicating that Shakespeare was not Jewish, but was Gentile bred. The author of the dedication in Shakespeare's folio ends his spoof of Pliny's dedication to Titus's by referring to Shakespeare's literature as, quote, "these remains of your servants, Shakespeare," end quote, which clearly can be seen as relating to the corpse of Shakespeare. Further, by connecting Shakespeare's remains to the Passover meal, the author repeats the extraordinary theme that runs throughout Emilia Bassano's poem Salve Deus Rex Judaeorum, the creation of a literary paschal lamb or Passover lamb. In this instance, however, it is not a Jew, but the perfect Gentile Shakespeare who is the supper, and the author is not suggesting that he will be eaten by Jews, as in Salve Deus by Christians. Following its dedication, the folio has a number of comments regarding Shakespeare that can be seen as relating to the Gospel's comic theme regarding pruning. Okay, yeah, we got the rest of this page and a half a page. Shakespeare's plays in the folio are said to be perfect of limb, while those copies of the plays found in other sources are said to be maimed. A number of statements contain references that can also be seen as witticisms ridiculing Shakespeare's wit, which is said to be no more able to be hid than it could be lost. Shakespeare is said to have small Latin, less Greek, and his face was writ in brass, which had the same connotation then as it does today, a bold fraud. That might be our title for today. Bold fraud. The 1640 edition of the Sonnets quotes Johnson's poem to Shakespeare, but makes a travesty of it by the insertion of question marks. The comments appear directly below an engraving of Shakespeare that appears to be that of someone wearing a mask. Excuse me. Quote, "This shadow is renowned Shakespeare's, soul of the age, the applause, delight, the wonder of the sage." Okay, I get what they're saying. So these really should be sentences, but it throws it off by making the periods question marks at the end of the sentence. Okay, I'll say it again. Quote, "This shadow is renowned Shakespeare's, soul of the age, the applause, delight, the wonder of the stage." End quote. Ben Jonson wrote about Shakespeare in his work Timber, where he continued the theme of humor concerning Shakespeare having not written his plays. He wrote, quote, "These Shakespeare nostrat, August in hat." What? Okay. "I remember the players have often mentioned it as an honor to Shakespeare that in his writing, whatsoever he penned, he never blotted out a line. My answer hath been, would he had blotted 1,000, which they thought a malevolent speech. I had not told posterity this, but for their ignorance who chose that circumstance to commend their friend, by wherein he is most faulted, and to justify mine own candor. For I love the man, and do honor his memory on this side idolatry as much as any. He was indeed honest, and of an open and free nature, had an excellent fantasy, brave notions, and gentle expressions, wherein he flowed with that facility that sometimes it was necessary he should be stopped. Okay, this is some kind of saying. Suffla menandus orat. As August said of Horatius, his wit was in his own power. Would the rule of it had been so too. Many times he fell into those things, could not escape laughter, as when he said in the person of Caesar, one speaking to him, "Caesar, thou doest me wrong." He replied, "Caesar never did wrong, but with just cause," and such like, which were ridiculous. But he redeemed his vices with his virtues. There was ever more in him to be praised than to be pardoned. End quote. And that's Ben Jonson in his writing Timber, the Schelling edition in 1892, page 23. The sarcasm is not difficult to understand. He stated that Shakespeare never blotted a line because he never wrote one, and the rule of his wit was not in his own power as it was in someone else's power. Johnson stated that he loved him, this side idolatry, because he was an idol and not a real author. Johnson wrote that Shakespeare had to be repressed from time to time, su flamendus orat, as August said of Horatius. Horatius was a Roman architect who constructed the Arch of Titus, the most famous monument to his divinity. Johnson recited an anecdote wherein Shakespeare stated, "Caesar never did wrong, but with just cause." A statement that Johnson wrote was ridiculous. Johnson was wryly commenting upon the real nature of Shakespeare's plays, which was to show that Caesar had, in fact, done nothing without cause. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was all of chapter 6. Tomorrow we will start chapter 7, and that chapter is entitled Romeo and Juliet. So look, if y'all haven't seen it already, go ahead and watch a version or two if you can, if you got the time. Yes, babe.
After you done, us can go to Jaden's party.
Her party is not today, baby. Her party is in 2 weeks.
You said I could.
Yeah, I know. Because I said we have to go find something to wear. It's like a little tea party, brunching party thingy. So we gotta be all cute and stuff. See, when you tell kids things early, they keep reminding you every day, all day long, like it's supposed to happen right now. You know, I figured have a little conversation with sis. We can go get done up for this little girl's tea party thing, but she think it's supposed to happen now, right? So sometimes I have to be careful. But I was so excited about it. You know, I was like, let me tell her so we can go, you know. Yeah, no. Like, at least, ever since I told her yesterday, at least once every hour, we're going to the party now? We're going to get our stuff? We're going to, what she called it? She said, we're going to get our mani-pedi? I said, Tootie, not today. I said, over the course of the next couple weeks, we're going to go look for something and get our stuff together, and then we're going to go on the day of the event. She's still trying to comprehend it all. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I'm going ahead and make my little notes here. I start running off at the mouth, and I need to get to work, get some stuff done. All right, y'all. So today it is Tuesday, November the 9th, 2021, day 298 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 966, we read Psalms 85 through 87, and we read all of chapter 6 in Shakespeare's Secret Messiah from page 175 all the way to page 186. All right, beautiful people, so let's go ahead and do the blessing here.
Back.
You back?
Yep, I'll read the video.
Okay. How many of y'all excited that the courts, for now, have put a stay on the mandatory,
You can read.
hold on, Pooh. The mandatory vaccinations. It's not permanent yet. Not permanent yet. That's what they said, but they working towards that, getting it permanent, right? So we'll see. We hope it's permanent, because now they campaign and pushing for the kids to get it. You know, if you get it, you get it. That's you. You know, but your decision is yours. But I personally think you shouldn't. That's no different from some violator forcing themselves on you, doing to you and your body what they want to do to you, without regard to how you feel at all, right? The United States, they're the biggest bullies on the block, right?
Let's go. Let's end the
And they
video.
try and fool you into thinking that you want this, right? They are a bad lover. They are a bad lover, right? Stop, Pooh. Stop, Bella. Stop. You keep hitting my hand, knocking this thing off of here. So hopefully, all this will fall into the category like the flu shot did, right? Where it'll be your choice. It'll be your choice whether you want to get it or not, right? Nobody's going to make you do it. You shouldn't have to lose your job because somebody's forcing you to do something, right? And what's crazy is if they make this permanent, I'm
Get
wondering
out.
if they're going
I
to
got
give
that.
restitution to those who have already lost their jobs because they refuse to take it, or the people who have walked off their jobs. I'm wondering if they're going to allow these people to come back
Stop
and give
it.
them their positions
Mommy.
back, right? So that's my prayer, that
Mom.
they're stop. That
No, give me that one.
Bella, you want to sit here with me in this? You can't be doing all that.
Zeno, give me that.
Come here. Give it here. What is this?
For my doll hanger.
Oh,
No, it's
give it here.
not.
What is it? Give it here. Well, whatever it is, it's pink, and I know it doesn't. Oh, it's pink. It don't belong to you. Give it here. Whether it was Tara's
It's sucking
or...
thumb.
Okay, so you want it back, but now you don't want it when he gave it to you because he was sucking his thumb. Make up your mind.
He was sucking his thumb with it.
So hopefully, you know, they'll be able to work this thing out, right?
Stop
And like I said, hey, stop. It'll just fall into the category where it will continue to be each person's own individual choice whether
Me
they
and Mom
choose to
see
get
that.
it, you know. But the U.S. courts done bought some people a
It's
little
in
bit
the
of time.
video.
Why they trying to work through this thing, right?
Stop it hitting me.
Nella, really? If you want to do all that, you will need to go, and I'll end this by myself. Okay? Are you good? Are you good? Okay. All right, y'all. But anyway, I'll be keeping up with that, and I'll be letting y'all know. Y'all gonna probably be keeping up with it too, but you know, I mention it from time to time just to see where the whole process is at, you know, because it does kind of affect us a little bit with some of the contracts. I think I mentioned to y'all before. One of our contractors.
Mommy,
Yes.
I sent the video.
In a second, one of our contractors. Well, yeah, contractors, which is a contract for us, they're requiring that all of their employees get the vaccination by the end of the year, December 31st, right? And we were talking to a couple of actual employees in there that we work with for the contracts that we do. Bella, quit. They were saying that their company, although the government says that you either take the vaccination or you have to produce 2 negative tests weekly, which they figure, you know what, people gonna get tired of going twice a week getting this done. They're hoping to wear people out in order to indirectly make them take the vaccine, right? That's what that's all about. If you haven't figured that out yet, we'll make them, we'll inconvenience them as much as possible, you know, until they're tired of being inconvenienced and just go along with our plan. They didn't say it, but if you go through and you read and you listen to them, that's exactly what they're doing, right? Okay, you don't want to get the shot, then you're required to get 2. You know, and some people, that would mean if their working hours is 9 to 5 and if clinics close, either they're going to have to put in vacation time or take the day off. And if they're requiring this twice a week, some people only have so much vacation time, right? Some people, after a while, you may be able to start it, but after a while, you may not be able to keep up with it, you know, unless you find a clinic or something open on the weekend where you can make sure you get them 2 tests done. But then 2 days back to back, they have to be spaced out a little bit. Like all of these things. I was like, they ain't slick. The government is not slick. So with the mandate to get tested twice a week and produce negative results, that's designed to wear you out, to make you go take the shot, right? Now, like I said, there's nothing against those who have chosen to take it. It's your decision. And that's okay, right? But for those who have chosen not to take it, they shouldn't feel like they're being pushed into a corner, backed into a corner because they don't want to do what you think they should do with their bodies. Each person's body is their own responsibility. And you're not going to make me do something with my body that you think I should do that you're doing with your body, right? So hopefully all of those, like I said, and all of those that have taken it that are here, because they're not to put any business on the street. Some people have been forced to take it, so to speak, because it's their livelihood. Like I really began to look at this in a different way a few weeks ago by talking to some people we work with, right? With one of our contractors, they've been with this particular company. They're literally at retirement age, right? They got about 3 years left before they retire. And her husband passed away last year. It's just been a year since he passed away. He passed away. They have a daughter. The daughter is about to have their first grandchild, right? And she's the daughter who's about to have the child is not that stable yet in life. But the person who we talk to that we work with, like I said, she's due to retire in about 3 years. She's been with this company almost 20 years, right? And she gets great benefits, the retirement plan, 401k, all these things have been built up over the years. And she was totally against this, taking a vaccine to keep her job, right? But then she began, hey, stop. That is too much. But she began to look at everything that she had built up over the years and her whole life situation with her husband now going on into eternity, got the first grandbaby and still kind of taking care of the daughter a little bit, right? And so just sitting, listening to this and actually listening to her walk through her story and how she thinks about it and her livelihood, I'm like, man, I was like, ooh, Father, forgive me. I was like, I had to think about this. I was like, I've been kind of hard on some people. I didn't really sit and think about it like this, right? Not that you should take it so you can keep your job, but really listening to the person and their heart and what they're dealing with and their outlook on life. Because some people don't have faith like some other people do. Well, y'all gonna take care of me. I know it. I'll walk off this job right now and won't think twice about it. And we'll go on and do okay just because that's where their faith is at. Guys, y'all are doing the most. Stop it. Josh, why did you have to do that?
Look, Mommy.
You don't even need, that's fine. You don't even need to do that. Put that in the sink. Now.
Mommy, look.
Bella. Okay, thank you. But you was over there just getting that. Now you see him over here getting ice cream. Now you don't want that and you want ice cream too? Go ahead and put that in there. Let me finish what I was saying. Y'all, look, so I really began to look at it in a different light. Like these are real life decisions people are making. Like a lot of people are losing their livelihood behind this. And now you come back, people are making decisions, and some people are making some decisions where they can't possibly return to a job or different things because the government is still everything is still kind of up in the air. Now you finally got the U.S. courts coming in and said this is an overreach. Like you are really violating rules of the Constitution. You're violating people. You can't do this. So we're putting a stay on this at the moment. They're trying to make it permanent, but it's not permanent yet. And I say it's not permanent yet because it possibly could go back. Just depending on how much fight they got going on up here and what's going on. But as for right now, they saying you can't make people do this. They have to choose if they want it, they can get it. If not, leave them alone. So I'm following this, right? But like I said, finish what I was saying. It really made me sit and think about people who actually have to deal with this decision because we've been self-employed, working for ourselves since 2008, right? So it doesn't affect me and my family the way it's affecting other people who work for other companies and that are not self-employed, right? So it's I'm looking at it at a bit of a different light, and everybody doesn't work for somebody like us where it's like we're not making this mandatory. We're not if you want to get it, it's fine. It's a couple of our employees that's gotten it, and that's okay. And there were other ones like, all right, that's your choice. We're not gonna make you.
You tell Josh I'm not getting the small cup.
We're not going to make you do that, right? Because that's not our place. Because if you do go get this and we mandated it, it's possible because everybody don't have their paperwork in order making their people sign out. Because if you go take this and they find out that something happens to you and it's a cause of you going to take this mandated shot, people gonna have lawsuits and all kinds of cases against them. Not on my watch, right? It's your choice, right? I'm pro-choice. So, but yeah, that's where I stand on that. Oh, Trina, you right. I just saw your comment. I remember that. Yeah. She said, you remember they did nothing when they kicked people out of the military about the anthrax. Then it was not mandatory later. Right. I remember that. I remember a couple of my friends.
You're kidding me.
I remember because I was working TAD security while we was going through all this. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back, Josh. Bring it back. Okay.
I still need this
Wait,
one.
whose bowl is this?
Hers.
Bella, girl, that is enough. I need to hurry up and get out of here. But yeah, Trina, you're absolutely right. So they probably won't, right? So they probably won't go back. And Bella, that is uncalled for. That is uncalled for. I'm gonna take what you have. Y'all, let me go ahead and end this. I'll finish my comments another day. But y'all see where I stand. So I can understand now. I really now look at this in a little bit of a different light. I say my compassion for this has increased. Right, sitting there actually listen to her walk through why and what would happen. Oh, yes, Bella.
Ice cream.
One of the things, I'm going to say this, then we can go ahead and end this. One of the things she mentioned, she said she's worked so hard all these years, about to retire, and had all of these things built up, making sure that when she does, when she retire or even when she passed away, that things are set in place for her daughter and now her grandbaby that'll be here in less than a month now. She said if she was to walk away from this job, and she got freaking awesome benefits. This contractor we work with, they pay her good. She said if she was to walk away from this, she said she would pretty much lose not lose everything, but there are just some things she would lose and wouldn't be able to get back. And if she went too long where they had to fire her, it's possible she could lose even more. And so she had been talking to her family about this and, what the job said, because they were one of the ones, because this particular company she works for gets big contracts from the government, right? So it's like, I'm putting my thumb down on you. They putting their thumb down on me, I'm putting my thumb down on you, right? So they just passing along. Like I said, they weren't even considering the two negative tests a week. They're just saying all of our people have to be vaccinated. That's it, right? And they said subs too. It was like, well, we're going to keep on taking these projects. And then when you make it mandatory and you push the subs out, deuces, right? We know how to stand on our own. But she said she was talking to her family. They were saying, well, just quit your job, come back home. And she's from a small town.
Now that's in the video.
Bella, stop, because you're doing the most this morning. I'm going to end this video when I'm ready. So, I'm about to put you off my lap and you can go upstairs. So you can do that whining somewhere up there because it's unnecessary. So, her family was saying, well, you come back here, you always got a place back here at home. But because she comes from a small town, right? And she would, even if she got a job there, she said the best job that she would be able to get if she went back home where her family is, she said the best paying job in that small town is Walmart. She said, and I'd be DAMN if I'm going to leave this and go to a Walmart job and not be able to take care of myself in my last days. And I spent all this time building this up. She said, I can't. She said, I can't. She said, look, and this kind of broke my heart. She was like, I don't want to take the shot. She said, but I absolutely cannot do that. Right. And she was at tears, because she felt, I'm getting all teared up because, we love her. Right. We done built relationship with her over the years. But, she said, I absolutely cannot leave this and go to this. She said, because we wouldn't be able to live. We wouldn't be able to take care of ourselves and stuff, So I'm just like, man. And that really, it really did something to me, So I got different people emailing me about kind of like the same situation. Some people may actually lose their job by the end of the year if something doesn't change, and so my prayers have been kind of different. I'm like, man, Father, forgive me, because like I say, everybody is not self-employed. Everybody doesn't have their own business, and the outlook on this is completely different from those who are self-employed and run their own business, like my husband and I, from those who actually depend on their livelihood to come from another company that they don't control, so I'm like, man, I'm just like, this is tough. It is really tough, I definitely wouldn't want to be in that situation, but in a way, like, we kind of are, but it doesn't affect us like it affects some other people, because we kind of control, and we can switch and do things and really don't have to depend on you. There's other ways we make money to where we don't even have to come be in your face, to where it's required that we have a shot, right? So also during this time, like I said, I'm not sure how fast this process is going to move, or if the stay is going to become a permanent thing, where it's not mandatory for you to take it in order to keep your job or to fly out to do anything. But I would say this is a time to start being creative. And if you work for somebody, if you have a skill, if you develop the skill over the years, can you take that skill and turn it into a business for yourself, right? Some people may be under the gun. You don't have a lot of time, so I would say use your waking hours along with your prayer, believing, and faith. Start looking for ways where you can enrich yourself and capitalize on the skills that you already have. Like, for example, because it's the easiest thing. Say if you work for an IT company or something, right? By working for an IT company, you've learned a lot of skills. You learn how they run their business, depending on what position you had. Now, with things going the way it is, and you have kind of like this split with the world, those who are taking a shot and can still go do stuff, and then you have those that aren't taking a shot, and so now some services they need, they may not be readily able to get them from certain people who have been vaccinated already. It's a whole nother market that's being created, to where you can now offer your services to those who need your services, and they have the same belief systems you do. You can start your own. You can start off as just a sole proprietor or whatever, but now you're creating income for yourself and not relying on somebody else. But with that, it brings more responsibility, because now you are the one that has to bring business in to make sure you get paid. You got to make sure that your processes are in order to make sure you actually get paid on time. And if your services cost a lot, are you going to require your customers to pay you all up front or put down a deposit? If it's people or companies like new clients, we require a deposit for our services before we get started with you. And some of them, full payment up front, right? Especially if we have to purchase some product to do this, we require that to be paid up front. But you can do that when you're working with businesses. We do business to business type of business. It's a little bit different when you're doing like business to individual. The payouts are a little bit lower, which means you have to have more clients, right? So things like that. Or if you work for a tax practice, like something I do, that's a skill I have. It's a skill that I have. If that's your main job, so you work for a company and they're requiring it, this is something that you can easily step out on your own and do. Start talking to your family and friends. Hey, they probably already know you do taxes. You can begin doing that. And then you begin to market your service and let other people know, and you get more clients. You see what I'm saying? So kind of get creative. Think about what skills you already have. Like I said, if you're under the gun, and if this continues to go and this stay is lifted and it becomes mandatory forever, what are you going to do? At least begin to think about it, right? What can you do to survive? Going digital would be ideal, because like marketers, they don't have to worry about the vaccine. They don't have to worry about it. The most they probably have to worry about is if they travel internationally a lot, but there are a lot of restrictions being lifted off the airports as well. They can easily go get their test twice a week or once a week or 48 hours before they fly or what have you, right? So you have to begin really thinking about these things, especially if this is the position you are in, right? So I just wanted to say a little bit about that. All right, Bella, we're about to end it. All right, y'all. So I want to help y'all in any way I possibly can, so don't forget. And I had my mom and I was talking about something. But I don't exactly really know how to set this in order yet. Yes, babe.
I'm ready.
For the religious exemption, right? For those who need it, like I said, I gave you the letter where you can use it as is, but adjust it to what you need it for. Was thinking about a way to where, like, I'm not sure, like, if they come back to verify your religious exemption, some people, they have kind of stepped away from the church and they just live life according to the principles of the Bible. And some places may want to know, hey, well, what congregation are you a part of? So they can call and verify with the congregation, right? And a lot of people here, they don't necessarily visit a congregation. It's like, this is the place they come, right? So I'm like, I didn't think about that. What could we put in place for people who need that? But how could we prove that you're actually here, right? So I don't know. I was like, well, if they want to verify, they could possibly go through and look at the old videos. They could probably see people who are here a lot and how they interact with the video. That's proof, because they're time stamped and everything. When you make a comment under the video or whatever, they can say, okay, yeah, this person seems to be here like daily, or they're interacting. If they come back and look at some of the videos, she interacting, calling out names. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about it. I want to make sure it's legal. Like I said, if I can help in that way, I absolutely would. I just need to figure out how to do it and make sure it's all legal, right? So if they come back, oh yeah, I know this person. We may not have met physically in the flesh, but if we chatting back and forth, or maybe connected to each other's social media, we kind of know what each other look. Well, y'all know what I look like. I don't know what half of y'all look like. Unless y'all got a picture or y'all done requested the friends on one of the social media avenues or whatever, right? But y'all see what I'm saying. But I'm looking into that to see how that can be done, and that way I can issue personal exemption letters to people who ask me, like, who have been here for a while, right? So I'm looking at that, like I said, all the legalities and all that stuff on how to do that, and so I'm looking into it, y'all. I ain't say I got it, but right now I'm just offering you the exemption letter. Take it and do with it what you need to do with it, right? So, but I am looking into it, y'all. I really am. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get out of here. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us.
Our name.
And look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
No, Mom, I'm put our name.
Okay. And they shall put not our name. They're not putting our name on people. They're putting Yahuwah's name on people. Look, you can't change this. They shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. That's it.
Stop laughing!
We got too much going on over here. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning.
Laughing.
Bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.